Good morning and welcome into the Tuesday morning viewpoint for this Tuesday morning, March the 12th, 2019. I'm your host, Randy Williams. How do you feel this morning? Certainly hope you're doing well. I am, or we are, shall we say, live on YouTube this morning, the Selma Post YouTube. And in that search bar, the little magnifying glass, the search bar, just type in Selma Post Herald things this morning. And the short was no, but that is no longer the case. And so we'll see how, I think some signal was not stable enough for me. Tune in. 875-1490 is the number. And he quite a remarkable guy. I saw him at the commemoration of Bloody. He was in Brown Chapel, and I see him quite often. And so to be quite accurate about his age, he's 90 years old, and that's something that wonderful. 90, but he's a vibrant 90 years old. I hope I make it to 90 and can do like he does. He gets around and does all sorts of stuff, and he's as busy as I am. So that's a good thing. All right, 875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. And so here we are. We're on our YouTube channel, the selmapostherald.com's YouTube channel. It's free, won't cost you anything, and this is an experiment. Like I say, I'm trying to see how this is going. See how this is going to. We'll start with our governor. A hurdle in the state legislature yesterday. The Senate Transportation and Energy Committee passed a package including the 10 cents gas tax increase on it's getting bipartisan support, and several people have commented on the bill. Senator Del Marsh of Anniston says it's been well planned, very thorough. The package includes 3 bills, one of which includes measures to make sure the money goes strictly towards infrastructure. Representative Bill Poole, the sponsor of the bill, said that you will see layer after layer of safeguards. Attached to the gas tax is a price index, and it would increase or decrease the gas tax every 2 years, no more than 1 cent. Some Republicans have shown concern for that particular aspect of the bill. Senator Bobby Singleton, a Democrat from Greensboro, who's also the minority leader in the Senate, said he would vote for the infrastructure package that was voted out of the House last week. He said the bill includes provisions that allows counties to use the gas tax money to bring down matching funds from the federal government. He also said there is language to make sure minority contractors are included in the process, and that's a good thing, So I'm glad to see that Senator Singleton at least is seeing that some minority participation from a financial standpoint is on the table. The other thing that is interesting about this bill is being that we just went through something similar in Selma, and I watched what happened in Montgomery. 3 different animals, if you will. Excuse me. Montgomery has a much greater tax base. They're not in financial constraints, and they certainly are transparent. And Mayor Strange, in my opinion, is very transparent, accessible, and accountable. And they appear to have their financial house in order. There's a trust issue right now in Selma in terms of what would actually, if the bill had passed, if we had passed the gas tax increase, there was a lot of concern by citizens of Selma that the money would not be used for roads and bridges and infrastructure. There was concern that the language allowed too much flexibility to money used for something else. And again, to this date, we still don't have the answers that we've been asking about. And that is, if you've laid off 68 people have been laid off, and maybe some more coming. And I understand that we're talking about saving $300,000 per payroll approximately. So what's going on with that money? This is what is this? This is March. That's 3 months into the new year. It started in November. That's almost 5 months. And the last time there was any comment on it, it was said that we were still paying bills from last year. Well, at what point does that stop? And which bills is the city paying? And so those were some of the issues that it was a good thing that the city council members went back to their constituents to see what their constituents thought and felt and voted in the way that their constituents wanted. And so that is a victory for the people. Now, I understand that, there were 2 council people that voted for it. Why? That's their reasoning, what their agenda is. And again, I'm assuming that they're comfortable enough with being strong enough with their constituents that that's the will of their constituents. If not, then they may have a problem when it comes around to the next election. And that's how things work in this country. This is a democracy, an indirect democracy, and a republic. But the key is participation. And so the great thing about where we are is that we can have bloodless transitions in power. We don't have to have a war to have a transition in power. On the national level, the president can only run 2 terms. And after that, somebody new has to come in. That's done without a revolution or a civil war. There are countries that I was looking this morning, in fact, about another leader who really didn't want to give up his power. But after 20 years, he took the unusual step of bowing to public pressure. And that rarely happens in some of these other countries that have dictatorships. And so, but here we are in a nation where we can determine who our leaders are. And that is what it is all about. It's Algeria, the Algerian president, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, according to the Associated Press, bowed to a public protest on yesterday and promised not to seek a 5th term after 20 years in power. In a letter to the nation released by the state news agency, the ailing leader also said the presidential election scheduled for April 18th will be postponed, and that he promised to establish a panel to plan a rescheduled vote. So at least they're moving forward. But that is our norm, to vote our leaders in and out in government. Viewpoint, you're on the air. Hey, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. It's obvious that the citizens of this country don't, at least part of them, don't think that President Trump is necessarily the greatest president that we've ever had. But that being said, why do we need leaders if they're not going to lead, period? I respect President Trump simply because he's in the position of president, but why do we need a president if he cannot be president? Now, I don't want to have a dictator, but I would like to see us go back to the time that we had a president that was president, and legislature and Congress and whoever else it is would at least try to look like they're trying to cooperate with him to get there, instead of just fighting every day. They're thumbing their nose at the citizens of this entire country because they could care less whether they're doing their job or not. All they want to do is bicker and fight and prevent the leader of this country and the most powerful leader in the entire world from halfway doing his job. They won't let him do anything. And so I wonder again, why do we just because he's Donald Trump. It would be the same thing if President Obama was still in there. They have got to where they have no respect for our leadership whatsoever, and I'm just sick and tired of it. So why do we need them? If they're not going to do their job, why do we need a president? If Congress and legislature and the Supreme Court is going to run this country, why don't we just do away with the president's office, period?
Well, I was surprised that Speaker Pelosi even said that she wasn't for impeachment, because at one point early on, she was it was implied that she was leading the charge. But I agree that we have become far too partisan in the politics.
Country like Russia, China, you show the disrespect, even though they're dictators. You show the disrespect for their leaders that our lawmakers and our Supreme Court justices and everybody else that's up there, you show the disrespect for their leader that we show for our leader, heads will be cut off. It's just that simple. But I'm just sick and tired of it. And Nancy Pelosi might have given a lot of people some hope until she made the statement that he is not worth it. Look, I got news for her. She needs to look in the mirror when she wakes up every morning. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling. 875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. We are also live this morning on YouTube. And so for those who have been asking about whether or not they can hear Viewpoint online, whether it be because of reception problems or the coverage area, as time goes on, we'll get the word out. This is our first time this morning on YouTube to see how it goes, and once it's done, I'll go back and listen to it. I think that I will probably have a audio issue that can be cleaned up, where the audio is a lot cleaner than what it presently sounds like. So I'm always constantly, of course, working on improving things. Let me bring you up to date on a few other things also. The Selma Post-Herald is getting ready to get back on track. We were off track there for at least a week or two, but April, the week of the first week in April, is the next issue of the Selma Post-Herald. Get back on track with that. selmapostherald.com will be should today with our internet going in and out, and so. I don't know if it's the weather or the rain does that or what, but we had some issues on yesterday for most of the day as I was trying to upload the update of selmapostherald.com.net with a lot of good stuff, including the video of the service at Brown Chapel, both services, Faith and Politics, on Saturday service. And so both of those will be uploaded as soon as our internet service recovers. That's the best way to put it. 875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. And so as the caller says, we have become far too partisan, in our politics. It's party first as opposed to our nation first, it appears many times. The president, in my opinion, has had an unprecedented level of antagonism from the media. I had never seen it like this before. I would have thought maybe that President Obama would have been the one that really would have got it like this. But I'm sorry, people. I think President Trump is being treated a lot more harshly than President Obama was. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
I love the fact that you go across your website and choose a particular subject area that you would like to, do further.
Well, thank you. That's what I'm working on. I got to complete that. But that's the direction that we're headed in.
Okay. Can we also have a poll for YouTube? We should be able to get YouTube. Did you say you're going on?
Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you said that. I'm going to add YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Where there's a link that will take you straight to all of those websites.
Great. Okay. All right. Well, I continue to enjoy it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the feedback. And the feedback is really important for me as we move forward.
It's everything. Still, I hate that people are not mature enough in order to just take it with a grain of salt. When you talk about Nancy Pelosi, I have always tried to share with the community that she was a very measured person. Therefore, her leadership is very needed, and those who want to complain about the direction that she feels that's more productive and counterproductive to where we want to reach, then that's their unfortunate loss. And I would suggest to get off there as a chance to realize, to go down the road further with that man named Donald Trump. When I have to do it television, I was very good at different channels. Sometimes when he's on the air, because I don't want my children to get arrogant. But we had an idea crazy that Donald Trump for years telling us that he was not a citizen of the United States. And so really, he's already shown his true colors in the life that he's led. And that's what we're going to have to stop doing. Stop trying to tear people down for the wrong reasons that have nothing to do with them. We need to look at what our whole adult is all about.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for calling. A Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Hi, Randy. I say we keep the president and throw out the congressmen and the senators. They're not doing anything. The president has accomplished so much, and I think more in 2 years than any other president has done. And to me, it has been done more on on him, not on any of the Congress. And their story, as far as I'm concerned, it's just embarrassing the way they're attacking him, and they're getting ready to start another investigation and calling about, 90 people that are associated with him and questioning them, and they can't find anything, but they're going to try to find something. What is the saying? They don't have anything to go on, but they're going to find something. And to me, it's really sad the way, as the gentleman said, that they are treating the president. And I'm so worried about the wall. If we don't get something done down there, Randy, we're going to be so overpowered with people that we can't afford to keep that it's just going to be sad.
I've been seeing some pretty tough numbers. I mean, 100,000, 200,000 people a year coming in illegally, or at least attempting to come in. That should be enough of a concern for all of us.
And the Congress doesn't care. They say it's just a false rumor or something, and it is so dangerous. It's just not right. Imagine all those people that can be indoctrinated into that. Well, what do you call it? The Democrats are kind of working their way so these people can vote. And imagine if a bunch of idiots come in here that can't even speak and are intimidated into voting some character in. Now we've already got 3 characters up there that seem to be running our country, and I mean, it's just sad. I mean, sometimes you just want to throw up your hands and say, what in the hell? I'm not even useless anymore to even speak out, because it's just...
No, you have to keep being vocal. That's the only way I get the message. I'm hoping that we're not getting ready to go into a round of endless hearings and investigations that are totally unrelated to running the country. That's what concerns me,
Right, Randy. And they don't have anything right now, and Mueller doesn't seem to be able to find anything, and but they're going to start that. I can't think of the guy's name that wants to start it again. But you talk about YouTube. Does it go out, say, down to the beach or
all over the world? YouTube is all all over the world. I was just looking at the figures. There are 2 billion people online. Half the people in the world are on the internet. And so they're anywhere in the world right now, they can hear, they'll see Selma Station, AM 1490 WHBB. They'll see our logo and be able to hear what we're saying right now as I speak.
Well, I'll tell you one person is the current.
The current, yes, ma'am. Yeah, he'll be able to pick us up. He'll be able to listen in, on this computer now.
Get to YouTube.
All he has to do is go to YouTube and then put in their bar selmapostherald.com in the YouTube search bar, and it will bring us up.
If I can't remember that, but I'll get it.
Or I'll email him. I think I ought to have his email somewhere. I'll see if I can't find an email. And what I'll do is once I've gotten this work the bug out, I'll go ahead and send out an email to all of the people that I know. And to all the people who subscribed and that are on the Facebook and YouTube and some of the other services that I'm a part of.
He'll be tickled to death.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Let's take this break, and I'll be back with more right after this.
We're with Barry Clarker at Reliable Cadillac and GMC in Selma, discussing less than perfect credit you can still buy, right, Barry?
That's right, George. Stuff happened to us and get in a little financial situation here and there and get behind on our bills, or in some cases, have our car repossessed. We have been with Credit Acceptance now for a number of years. They will get you financed, get you writing today. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. All you need to do is stop by and see us, take a little information, a little money down, we'll get you writing today. Like I like to tell folks, when everybody else tells you no, we tell you, yes, we can. Yes, we get you financed. Yes, we get you approved. That simple, that easy.
That's on a good car, not junk.
Oh, that's right, George. All of our cars qualify for credit acceptance. It's a matter of getting the right car in a payment that you can afford. One great thing about credit acceptance, they're not going to put you in a car that you can't afford because they want you to be able to afford it. So not only will you be riding, but also you'll be reestablishing credit. They report to the credit bureau, so you're building your credit back up. And in our case, we've had several customers that we started out with credit acceptance. They've been with them for a few years, came back, and we were able to convert them over to one of the other finance companies at a lower rate, which means they get a little lower payment and sometimes get even in a nicer car than what they had to start with.
Sounds great, Barry. What do we need to do? Just come by and see you?
That's right. Just stop by and see any of the sales staff. They'll be glad to explain it to you. We're located right here in downtown Selma, right across the street from the post office. Give us a call, 872-2337 or 1-800-595-6537. Hey, it's all happening right here at Reliable Cadillac GMC. Y'all come see us.
Reliable Cadillac and GMC, where they truly have it all. 14 Warwick Street, Selma.
1490 WHBB. Good morning to you. 875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. We are live on YouTube this morning, youtube.com. Just go to youtube.com and in their search bar, type in selmapostherald.com and we will come up. Selmapostherald.com has a YouTube channel. And this was free to you, by the way. It won't cost you anything. And so I've had so many people ask me here recently, again, where people want to be relatives and or somebody in Birmingham or Mobile ask, can we hear you? Can we pick you up on the internet? And so up to this point, we have not been streamed. And so I am using my YouTube channel, selmapostherald.com, to broadcast. So you can hear. You're not going to see my face though. You may from time to time. Right now, I've got a logo. I'm not a George McDonald. See, George, you got to have some. You got your face. I think I have a face for radio. Jokingly, but when I'm cleaned up, I'm I saw a couple of times I went at 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I guess maybe I share something in common with him other than being talk radio, but I noticed that Rush, he wasn't in a tuxedo. I'll put it like that. So, and me at 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
How you doing, Randy?
Yes, sir. How are you this morning?
Randy, these Democrats ain't nothing but reactionary. And I don't like quote, I don't like you. Listen to this. They go around teaching the class game. They say it's an upper, middle, and lower class. Now, I know my dad workshop Jesse. He knows that my father always taught the man live in space, energy, elements, and motion. There's no upper, no middle, and no lower class. Let's just Randy, I'm on the raceway with Mo. And he's bragging on Obama. I kept telling him, I said, Obama is off when he shot Gaddafi. And now guess what done come out that he was off. Occidental Petroleum is owned by Ahmad Hammer. Obama was listening to Hillary. I'm looking like this. Don't bring roles and you reactionary around me. And it's just like I'm sitting at Raceway last night. The young lady come in working out the county jail. So Mo asked her, how many out there in the jail? Jail full. I walked through Selma University with one individual in the English class. Who is these folk in Selma trying to fool? The pack down in Marion is incorrect. Howard Turner Jr., Jesse was not part of the right to vote movement. He was brought, he came from the University of Chicago down here, and my father put him on payroll in Chicago. So quit trying to run around the country fooling somebody. And my sister Shalay done told on, and I done found out some more too, man. You ain't got no programs for the children out there in the jail to rehabilitate them, to educate them. Boy, they some serious.
Well, again, we had talked about that before, and the community has got to step up to the plate and put our elected officials and others in positions of power and authority under pressure. I'm mindful of President Roosevelt when A. Philip Randolph, when they first tried to do the first march on Washington, and then later President John F. Kennedy, when they were trying to get the Civil Rights Act of 1964 passed. Both presidents basically said to the leadership, you have to make us do it. And you make us do it by organizing and by showing up in numbers, by doing petitions and by voting people in and out of office. Make us be responsive. Make us do what you need done. And that's what's got to happen now. The community.
But check it out, Randy. That class down in Maryland, I'm going to tell you what's supposed to be on it. Frederick Douglass made a statement. It's dangerous to give a person the right to vote or them to be slaves and be ignorant. It's dangerous for a slave to be intelligent. It's dangerous for him to be ignorant. That's the statement that's supposed to be on that plaque. Thank you for my econ and all of them. You're not fooling me. I got Justin out here. And when you got individuals that didn't get a psychologist and get some psychological help, they will play up on the two. I'm looking like this. And I'm talking about this homosexual thing. You can do what you do. And this is Randy. I sit back and listen to him. Christianity began with Paul. It did not begin with Jesus Christ. Christ and Christianity is two different definitions. They need to go get a relationship with the Lord. And I said, I hear this. Oh, they ain't selling beer on Sundays. Sunday's the first day of the week. Saturday's the Sabbath. So if you let Dario play games with you, that's your problem. He didn't want to put that dumb law in. Who would you hold that?
Okay.
The more you stay around them, the dumber they get. We just want to pray for them.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for calling. 875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. He does touch on a point, though, that that is being talked about, and it's very closely related to the whole issue of reparations. I think one of the Democratic candidates for president is embracing the idea and saying that they're for reparations for African Americans, in some form or another, either a direct payment to each African American or some other considerations. The problem with slavery and freeing slaves was that once the Civil War was over, you know, the African Americans had, and where do you go? And what's, you know, there were skills. You had skilled laborers, you know, that were keeping things going in whatever area they were in. But once they were freed, you know, you're talking about widespread illiteracy in many cases, and not being able to, or not having been used to, being responsible for their own destiny. So a lot of transitions that, you know, you don't just when you just don't let folks go and not give them the skills that they need. And in fact, I remember a friend that I made that was from South Africa, a journalist who had been exiled. This was before Nelson Mandela was freed, and he had done a report. This was at Hampton, now Hampton University, Hampton Institute at the time. But we were having this conversation. He said, "Well, I just finished this report on the history of black colleges and the founding of some of the first black colleges. Hampton was one of them." And he said that the Union generals, and if you check the record, you'll find that many of the first black colleges that were started by generals from the Union Army. And with the exception of Tuskegee, but Booker T. Washington went to Hampton. You know, he graduated from Hampton, and that was what inspired him to start Tuskegee Institute. But anyway, he said that the generals had gotten together and said, "Well, now we have a couple of 100,000 ex-slaves who have been trained in the military sciences, who are trained troops, and now that the war is over and they go back to civilian life, we have to find a way to help them make a transition into society." That's why most of your first schools were called training institutes. They had to train ex-slaves how to develop a profession or an occupation so that they could have a legal form of income, a legitimate form of income. And do you know that the people that were recently removed from slavery did more with less, in my opinion, than what is being done now in the African American community on many levels. Although African Americans have come a long way, but we got a long way to go. Let's take this break, and I'll be back with more. Again, we are live on YouTube this morning. This is an experiment, and I think, Facebook's signal was not as stable as YouTube's, not for me at least, but this seems to be working out, and so we'll see. But anyway, let's take this break, and I'll be back with more right after this.
Hey, this is Judy McKinney at the Orville Farmers Market, and we'd like to invite you to come and see us and be able to share with you the uniqueness of what our farmers market is, local agriculture, by buying up fruits and vegetables from local farmers. One of the coolest things about the market is you can come in and buy your garden seeds from us, take those home, grow your crop, then you can turn around, come back with that farm fresh produce and sell it directly to consumers at the farmers market, or you can sell your produce to us. Then we take your produce and we make it part of our farm to fork meals every day. We're just a unique opportunity in this area, and we invite you to come and be a part of it. Also coming soon is our Farmers Market CSA. This is a celebration of farmers and food artisans in this area. Come see us at the Orville Farmers Market, located in Orville, right on Main Street at the second caution light. For additional information, check us out on Facebook and find out all the cool things that are going on at your local Orville Farmers Market.
There are approximately 104 million active gang members in more than 33,000 gangs in the U.S. Over 40% of these members are children under the age of 18, and almost a quarter are female. Children are motivated to join a gang for a variety of reasons, including to protect themselves, feel a sense of belonging, peer pressure, or make money. Here are 8 ways parents can protect their teens. Be aware of the risks and signs that your teen may be involved in a gang. Spend quality time with your child. Be a positive role model. Be engaged in your teen's world. Involve your teen in extracurricular activities. Encourage academic success. instill positive life skills, and explain the consequences. Parents, don't be naive when it comes to games. They are a real and present threat in every part of America. If your child is already in a gang, seek help and let them know that there is hope for their future. Have questions? Call 874-2556 at the Juvenile Probation Office. I'm Mike Irwin, and this has been your Parental Minute.
Alzheimer's Outreach Group and the Dallas County Sheriff's Department are putting on a rummage sale March 4th through the 16th from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Monday through Saturday. The rummage sale is being held at 431 Church Street in Selma. That's the old Social Security building. Clothing, shoes, infant wear, toys, furniture items, and more. Proceeds from the sale will support Dallas County's Project Lifesaver and Alzheimer's research. Stop by and shop. Your support is greatly appreciated.
1490 WHBB. Viewpoint, that call is gone. 875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. A lot of activity still in Lee County. A lot of people are really stepping up to the plate from all over the state to help the recovery efforts in Lee County. This Friday and Saturday, Gospel Tabernacle Church will be loading up for Lee all day at School of Discovery, and then from 10 until 12 on Saturday for toiletries and bottled water. I believe Pastor Grayson said yesterday that you can also drop items off at the church as well. They're going to take 3 truckloads of supplies to Lee County. Selma has a big heart. And I mean, we have an extremely big heart. We've been, I think, by some reports, ranked as one of the poorest cities our size, population-wise, in the nation. But for a city our size and to be ranked as being in poverty is just another example of how we can step up to the plate as a community and help others, and not just ourselves. President Trump, of course, was there Friday. He and the First Lady, and they stayed for several hours. And in their body language, you could see that the impact that it had. I could see, the different types of destruction in the rural areas as opposed to urban areas. And let's not forget Millbrook? I'm sorry, that just a couple of weeks back. Look at what the kind of damage that they sustained. So we're in that season. All I can do is pray, first of all, and encourage us to have a plan, a safety plan. We do it on a regular basis, and I'm going back to that. I'm going to start doing it on a more regular basis to remind us to have a safety plan and a first aid kit and, at least 3 days worth of water. I was a part of the CERT team, Community Emergency Response Team training a couple years back. And the first thing they teach us is that the best way you can be of help is to be able to help yourself first. And then you can help somebody else in an emergency or a natural disaster. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
You make me think about the airplane crash. I'm so sorry for the loss, all of the devastation throughout the world. Even our neighbors over in Lee County. Man, I call that because you couldn't do loud and clear over to YouTube. I don't know whether anybody else can really see that.
Yeah, I see people are watching. I am listening, and so if I put the volume up in the studio, we'll get feedback. So that's why I can't really. I'll bring some headphones tomorrow, and that way I can monitor. But can you hear the callers? That's what I'm more concerned about, being able to hear people who are calling in, and how that sounds.
I think a while I was listening on the first I heard had been used. And people have to realize this radio station, I think they said that Dr. Lewis Lloyd Anderson was the one who suggested it back in the 60s in order to have dialogue in the community. And if people don't call in, then no information is being disseminated in order for acts to be worked upon. I have found that this has been the only way in order to address many of the ills and the urge that our community has had. And I hope that people Larry Morris used to have on his program, is the people and all those people who called in who had made viewpoint. And that's one of the thoughts about this program. You know, yesterday somebody was mentioning to you that there was people in this community who were impacted. And I think that particularly who pointed out it was
The Jones family. I remember talking about the Jones family.
you know, they right there are a prominent family in this community because Ms. Jones has been a teacher also.
Well, see, I don't know which set of Jones it is. And that's I didn't recognize the one that was on Channel 8 when George McDonald interviewed the couple. I didn't recognize them, so I don't know which set of Joneses it is.
She has been a lovely music lady throughout our community for years. Also, her son plays the piano for many courts, many churches and choirs around here. Randy, they were in the Dallas County education system, whereby they were wonderful people who worked with the children and the faculty. You know, so it's a nice, wonderful memory. But our condolences do go out to them. We praying for all of the survivors and that they heal in the right way. So I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, they are one of our good families.
Yeah, I'll have to get familiar with them. I may very well be familiar with them. I just didn't know those two, and I may already know who they are. You know, like 9 times out of 10 I do. But that's the way it is sometimes.
The piano for First Baptist Church also, so I know.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's what I mean, and that's why I say I'm sure I know them. You know. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for calling. Fortunately, you know, we do have a pretty good audience, and I get all kinds of feedback. There's nowhere I can go in Selma or Dallas County, and at some point not run up on people who continue the conversations. I have people who can tell me word for word what we've said on Viewpoint. So, you know, and so we know we know the audience is there, and we know that we've been able to have an influence and impact on a lot of different things, city government, policy making. You know, this audience is a very influential audience, very diverse audience, and I have people tell me all the time, I don't call every day, or I don't call all the time, but we're listening. And so the nature of talk radio is there are going to be laws at time in a market this size, but now with this YouTube thing coming about, it could change the game. And so in terms of audience and the potential from where the audience will come from. And so I guess I have to remind myself of that and start saying 334-875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. And we, at some point, we may grow to the point of where people are calling from other parts of the country. So we'll just have to take it one day at a time. Tell you what, let's take a break, and I'll be back with more right after this.
We're here with Barry Parker at Reliable Cadillac and GMC. Barry, a lot of folks when they're shopping for cars step into dealerships and find that they really have a hard time keeping the same people on staff. You don't have that problem here at Reliable. You're kind of the fresh face in the place, aren't you?
Hey, I think so, George. You know, they kid me a lot. Most of our salespeople have been here for over 10 years, and really, truly, I feel like
I think you are the new kid on the block.
I'm the newbie. That's right, I'm the newbie. But I've been in the business for a long time. I've just not been in the business here at Reliable. But I've got Don Altman, Jimmy Johnson, Herbert Allen, John Porter, and of course Bill Lovelady and Bill Porter and myself. And hey, we just want to invite you to come down. We're locally owned, locally operated. Been here, George, for 72 years. Can you believe that? That's longer than I've been in the car business.
It's longer than either of us has been around. Now, another thing about it, being locally owned and operated, it means you don't have all the corporate hassle and red tape and all that sort of thing, right?
Everything's done right here in-house. Got great finance companies that've been with us probably close to 72 years. It's just the way to do business. We do it the old-fashioned way. We want to sit down and talk with you, get to knowing you personally. I want to talk about the family, want to talk about the ball games, fishing, whatever. We just want to put a lot of personal touch. So again, folks, come by and see us. We may not have exactly what you're looking for, but we'll find it for you. That's something else that we offer. After being in the business for the number of years that I've been in business, I've got a lot of connection, not only here in the Selma area, but also throughout Alabama and really throughout the Southeast. So pretty much I can go find what you're looking for. All we want is an opportunity to earn your business. So stop by us. It's reliable Cadillac, GMC.com. Been here for 72 years.
1490 WHBB. Good morning to you. 334-875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. And so after I get off this morning, I'll go on and review the program and see how it sounded, and make any necessary adjustments to improve the quality of the sound, audio. YouTube.com is where you go, and then in the search bar of YouTube search bar, just type in selmapostherald.com, and our channel will come up. It's free to you, and you'll be able to. Now tomorrow we have. I never have been, not really. What's ironic about it is I'm a thespian, so I used to love to act, in pantomime and in other forms of theater. So it's a contradiction of sorts, but I guess eventually I'll come around to, being seen like that. But I just need to make sure I'm prepared. I don't feel like I'm quite prepared for that this morning, but at least you get a chance to see the logo, WHPB's logo, Selma Station, the oldest station in Selma, by the way. And so 873-875-1490 is the number to call if you have comments or questions. Let me say happy birthday again to Mr. George Sally, one of the original foot soldiers that marched from Selma to Montgomery in 1965. He's 90 years old, and that's quite an achievement. Shape. And so I just want to wish him a happy birthday again on this morning. Now, let's see here. A couple of other things. Oh, don't forget, tomorrow morning, the Evan Pettis Bridge around 8:30 will be closed for 3 days, from Wednesday through Friday. Starting tomorrow morning at 8:30, the bridge will be closed, and it won't be open until Friday afternoon around 4. The Alabama Department of Transportation is doing some maintenance and some repairs, and they're saying that because of the nature of what they're doing and the kind of the amount of equipment and the kind of equipment that they've got to use, it is safer for motorists for them to close the bridge down until they finish the repairs. And so that's why the bridge is closed. They're going to put more detour signs up and other signs letting people know about that as well. But they're also, coming through radio and other media to let people know that the bridge will be closed starting tomorrow morning around 8:30 and until Friday afternoon at 4. So you have to use the bypass, the Cecil Jackson bypass, to come in and out of or around Selma. Okay. Also coming up this week, the Dallas County School System Department of Federal Programs is hosting a Parent and Family Expo. That's coming up on Thursday, and that will be from 4:30 until 6:30 at the Selma Convention Center. Community and family partners are being encouraged to join other partners and guardians and parents and teachers and principals. There'll be door prizes, free entertainment and fun, free food, and free health and wellness, career support, college readiness, and financial resources given away. Okay, take your entire family, enjoy the evening. It's free. For more information, you can contact Dorothy Owens at 334-872-6251 or Ivory Williams at 334-872-6252 or Geneva Brown at 334-876-4475. Okay, all right. What else is happening? How about something to make us go, people do crazy things, right? How about Fort Lauderdale, Florida? A grieving family members are demanding answers after they say a Florida funeral home displayed the wrong body at their loved one's wake. It sounds like something out of a movie, huh? Norman Newman's family thought that they would be saying their last goodbyes to her on Saturday night at Roy Mizell and Kurt's funeral home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But when Newman's sister, Cynthia Weber, went over to view the body, she says she discovered a complete stranger inside the casket. And she said, I went up to view her. No, this is not my sister. This is somebody we don't know. We didn't know the person that was lying in the casket, she said. So now the search is on for her sister, Norma Newman. And that, of course, is a developing story that we will be following with great interest. As we're under 2 minutes, I want to thank you for tuning in. Yesterday, we had State Senator Malika Sanders-Fortier came on, and she said that she thought it would hit the floor today in terms of the debate for the gas tax increase, and she came in to kind of get a feel for what people thought and to express her views, also to kind of give you a feel of where she was at. It looks like this bill has gotten some bipartisan support. I noticed where Senator Bobby Singleton said that he supported the gas tax increase. I see and sense a different tone. I know Senator Singleton, and I know that he's also the leader of the minority in the House, in the Senate, and so of the Democratic Party, and so he's pretty sharp, competent, and I'm confident that he'll try and get some things done for this area as well. There's overlap between he and Senator Fortier, but what I got from him and I noticed at the governor's address, State of the State address, is a different the body language. And the body language suggests that, well, maybe we'll be able to work across party lines in both the Senate and the House. And I know State Representative Prince Chestnut has those same kind of skills that allows him to work across the aisle for the best interest of this area. So that's a good thing. You have yourself a safe and enjoyable day. I'll see you tomorrow morning, the good Lord willing. Stay tuned for Fox News up next on 1490 WHBB Selma. It is 9 o'clock on the Great Awakening.
Britain joins the growing list of countries grounding the Boeing 737 MAX 8. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. UK regulators will not allow those jets to fly into or out of the country. Australia did the same ban earlier today. Countries and airlines grounding the type of plane that crashed in Ethiopia Sunday, killing